have a cat. If you want to know how to be able to talk to anyone, how to have more friends, and how to be more popular, then this video is definitely for you, because in this video I'm going to be sharing with you guys some psychology secrets to help you do just that. Hi Nervous friends, and welcome back to my sleeper. In today's video, we're going to be talking about some psychology secrets to get people to like you, make friends easily, and be more popular. First things first, I'm going to be telling you guys about this really cool website that I feel like everyone should know about, and also this one tip, which is one of the best tips when it comes to making friends and one of the best hacks that I've found out in my life that I can give to anyone. And this is actually something that I would definitely recommend to you guys, because you know me, I never partner with anything that I don't agree with. So first things first, have you ever like gone on shopping websites online and just wondered why are things that don't have to be that expensive so expensive? Well, that is not the case with Temu. When it comes to Temu, the prices are incredibly low. The website also offers free shipping and free returns for up to 90 days, and they're having a massive spring sale right now, which is going to be 90% off, which honestly, with the already low prices, is incredibly convenient for this hack, which is if you're kind of shy and you don't like to just randomly walk up to people and you want to like start conversations with people, have people come up and talk to you, then this is the perfect hack for you. Which is, I noticed that whenever I had some kind of interesting school supply or a fluffy keychain or something like that, there would be so many people coming up and like playing with my school supplies, and it would start so many conversations. So if you guys want to get something that is a conversation starter that is going to have people drawn to you and is also incredibly inexpensive, I would definitely get the following items off of the Temu website. I'm going to be suggesting all kinds of different ones, so no matter what your taste is, you can find something in these ones. So the first one is this fluffy phone case, which I know is not for everyone. If it's not for you, just wait for the other ones. But first of all, like when I went to school, I always had crazy phone cases, and especially one of them was the fluffy bunny one. And I remember people constantly like playing with the phone case and being like, oh, like I love your phone case, and that would start so many conversations. So if you're not against the fluffy phone case or a big phone case, then this would definitely be a great conversation starter item for you. But otherwise, the second one is something that I actually have right now, which is a mirror phone case, and plus with the sale it is $1 right now. Like the prices are literally insane, which is what I love about this website, because they don't really overprice things. This next one honestly is such a good tool to make friends, which is if you have some stickers, you can share them. Maybe you're at school and you're sitting and talking to someone, you can be like, oh hey, like do you want some stickers or something like that. So it's going to be like this kind of like bonding tool that you guys can use. The next one are these notebooks which say magic spells on them. If you're sitting with someone and you have a cool notebook, there is a really high chance that that person is going to compliment you on your notebook. I'm going to have all the items linked down below, and since Temu is sponsoring today's video, you guys also get 30% promo code, which is going to be in the description as well. Okay guys, now let's get into more psychology tips that are going to help you make friends easily, get people to like you, and be more popular. This is definitely something that I bet you haven't heard before anywhere else, which is, have you ever noticed that sometimes when you're speaking, you kind of end your sentences as if it's a question? So instead of going down at the end of the sentence, you kind of go up at the end of the sentence. Something like, my favorite drink is green tea. It is actually really common for a lot of us to use that question intonation at the end of our sentences, especially when we're talking to someone who we are nervous about talking to. For example, you're talking to this person that you want to be friends with, you might be using a lot of the question intonations because you're nervous about talking to them. So when you're talking, you're holding your breath and you're speaking while you're inhaling, not while you're exhaling. Now, I know this might be really confusing and you might be like, why does this even matter? Here's the thing, when you speak with a question intonation, you lower your perceived authority. So the other people are probably going to be less likely to take you seriously, and they're going to be less likely to think of you as a confident person. So how do you fix that? What you're supposed to do is, first of all, notice when you're doing that. Be aware of it when you're speaking to the person that you want to become friends with, when you're speaking to someone new. Just remember that you might be ending your sentences with a question intonation, and when you're speaking with them, try to talk when you're breathing out, not breathing in. Don't just go like, hi, I like your notebook. Instead, go like, hi, I like your notebook. There is definitely a difference in the tone, and that is something that we also catch on the subconscious level. So if you speak when you breathe out, you're going to sound way more confident. This is also something that you can practice at home before you talk to someone, just so you don't like mess up exactly when like speaking and you don't go like too deep. Speaking of questions, did you know that most of the communication, like 70 or 80% between people is non-verbal? So even though you're saying something, your body language is also saying a lot. And what makes the other person like you more when you're talking to them is actually showing them non-verbally that you're actively listening to them. This is a skill that very few people have, but if you develop this skill, it's going to make whoever you're talking to feel so good that they're going to definitely want to talk to you more. So here's how you do it. If you want to show someone that you're actively listening to them during the conversation with them when they're speaking, try to lean in a little bit. When we lean in with our body when we're speaking with someone, instead of like leaning back away from them, it signifies to them that we're more interested, and it's kind of like a signal to go on and keep talking. At the same time, another one that you guys can use is like 3 nods when you're listening to someone, going like this. Make sure not to overuse it though, because you don't want to look crazy when you're speaking to someone. You don't want to just be like, oh my god, yeah, like that's a little too much. But you know, when it's like subtle and it's like, yeah, like I get what you're saying, and it's just a part of the conversation, it naturally flows. Not doing it too often, and at the same time, one of the most important things is having your body directed towards that person, which you have no idea how many times it happens when you're talking to someone and either like they're halfway turned and they're like kind of like that, which I mean, if you're in class, there's not that much that you can do except for like maybe angling your toes towards that person and kind of like shifting a little bit if you're talking like during the class. But if you're talking during the break, definitely when you're speaking with someone, turn towards them if you can. Or when you're standing and speaking with someone, make sure that your body is facing towards that person and it's not angled away from that person, because subconsciously that is going to make the person that you're talking to feel like you're not really listening, especially if you angle yourself towards the exit out of the room. That might give the person on a subconscious level a feeling that you want to get out of the conversation, which usually when people want to get out of the conversation, they either angle themselves towards the door or they look towards the door when they're listening to you. That's also a really fun hack on like how to know if someone wants to like stop talking to you, but that's not true in all cases. Like someone might be anxious, just keep that in mind. Another thing that you definitely need to remember during the conversations is that it is actually proven that emotions are contagious. So there have been studies on this using like people smiling, which would get either like the other person to smile, or I think like the light up the areas in their brain that are associated with happiness or something like that. I'm not quite sure about it, so don't quote me on it, but it's true that emotional contagion exists. So it is usually better to speak about something positive or have something good to say. Kind of try to be in a good mood when you're interacting with other people rather than constantly being negative and nagging and complaining, because your emotions are going to infect the other person, and I don't think people are really happy about just having negative emotions flood them. But again, make it natural. Don't take this to an extreme. You don't want no toxic positivity, but most of the time when you're interacting with new people, for example, try to be more on the positive side and have those positive emotions rather than negative emotions, because we like talking to people who make us feel good way more than we like talking to people who make us feel bad. And another common fact is that when you're talking to someone, your brain is naturally looking for similarities between you two in order to kind of make a connection. So when you're talking to that person, try to highlight the similarities between you rather than differences. It's not to say that just agree with whatever they're saying, even if you don't agree with it. For example, if they're like, oh, I really like the TV show Jenny and Georgia, which self-plug, check out my second channel. You don't like the TV show, don't be like, oh my god, yes, I love the TV show, because that's just fake, that's not real. And no one really wants to build a friendship with a fake person. But if you can highlight the things that you guys have in common, even if it's something as small as you guys are taking the same class, that is going to work really well for you, instead of just focusing on the differences that you have. Like they're like, oh, I really like the show, and you're like, I hate that show, that's the worst show ever, and just go on about that. Like, don't. You can be like, yeah, I don't really like it that much, but what about this, or something like that. Highlight the similarities. Don't try to like deny the differences, but at the same time, don't really like be stubborn on the differences, because we all know that person who you talk to and you say something that you like and they just start shitting on it so bad. I've had this happen so many times with people in my music taste. Like I'll be like, I love Machine Gun Kelly or I love Youngblood, and people will be like, ew, Machine Gun Kelly is so bad and this and that, and they will go on a full-on tangent, and I'm just like, ugh, okay. And the other thing is something that I'm doing right now, which also Vanessa Van Edwards, who's the author of the book Cues, talks about in her book, is that, did you know that TED Talks where in the first few seconds, the speaker shows their hands are way more liked and have way more views than the TED Talks that the speaker doesn't do that. Even if it's as simple as just like waving in the air, like, welcome to my TED Talk or something like that, it makes a huge difference. And her team analyzed those TED Talks, and that was one of the reasons that they found, which actually has a psychological basis, because when people see your hands, when you have your hands visible, not in your pockets, not behind your back, not under the desk, makes the other person trust you way more on the subconscious level, and therefore also like you way more in the subconscious level, because on the evolutionary basis it evolved as a sign of trust. Because in the past, if you could see someone's hands, that would mean that that person is not a threat to you, they're not carrying any weapons. And when it comes to the actual conversation with the person, one of the things that all of us are tempted about doing, especially if it's like a school setting, a college setting, you're somewhere in your university, it's usually something like, oh, like, I'm so tired of this class, like I just want to go home, I want to eat, I want to sleep, like I'm so bored, this class is so boring, which in some cases it would give you some shared experience that you can bond over. But at the same time, a lot of the social scripts usually don't activate any reaction in our brains because we've heard them so many freaking times. So if you kind of break the conversational norms, there's going to be this chemical released in the other person's brain, which is called dopamine, and it's a happy feeling chemical, which makes the conversation seem more exciting and makes the conversation seem more interesting, and it's going to make the person want to talk to you more. So when talking to someone, don't just go with the regular social script that has been said over and over again at school, like, oh, like I want to go home, oh, I haven't slept that much, oh, like I want lunch, or something like that. Talk about something interesting. Don't go too far, but something that's not too usually talked about, like what was the highlight of your day yesterday, which can be a little intrusive for some people, so try to come up with something that would not be maybe like considered that intrusive, but something that is still not something that everyone says all the time. And when you break the conversational norm a little bit, the conversation is going to be way more exciting, it's going to be way more interesting. And if you guys want to know a really great conversation starter that you can use to make more friends, then definitely you can check out this video right here. And if you want to know how to be more confident, how to have the it girl mindset, then check out this video right here and click the link in the description below to get 30% off. Get yourself some conversation starter items and check out Temu spring sale. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!